Hello, welcome to the podcast. My name is Caitlin, and I don't have a whole lot going on. Yesterday I didn't record because I had been backed up on posting ones that I had already recorded, apparently, and I just used my time to upload 3 videos that I just had sitting there that I was like, oh, whoops. Normally I try to post them immediately following recording, and it's pretty much, same day. It's what I aim for, but that doesn't always happen, especially when I'm running behind and I'm recording up until I'm starting work, so it just depends on the day, and I guess that happened a couple of days in a row. It's been a pretty uneventful week for me. Been unusually busy at work, but it makes the day go by faster. I really don't mind. It's not crazy. The first one day was crazy. But anywho, yesterday wasn't, and it's Thursday now. Can't wait for the weekend. We're gonna be going to the Lego store and getting some Legos for my partner's birthday. That's what he wanted. We got him presents, and I made him this really awesome giant cinnamon roll cake, essentially, but it was just one big cinnamon roll. It was awesome. It was made in a 10-inch springform pan. It was awesome. But other than that, not a whole lot. We didn't do much for his birthday because he wasn't feeling well, unfortunately. It always sucks to be sick on your birthday. And it was midweek, so we both had to work. It was just, yeah. So hopefully this weekend will be better. He'll be feeling better. Yeah. And I've been looking at concerts. There's this one concert that I'm thinking I want to go to. I don't know the group super well, but I was listening to them on the way home yesterday because I've been wanting to do stuff. I don't know. I feel like I'm in this phase right now where I just need to do something. I tend to just stay at home and not do anything, and usually that's fine. And I can get very overstimulated, and I like to be in a calm environment, but recently I've just been bored and understimulated, so just wanting to experience new things and have fun, and I don't know, just go somewhere other than work and home. So I don't know, and also make friends. I have 2 friends. Well, okay, I have 3 friends. I see them twice a year. I want to be able to do things, go out, I don't know what exactly. I know I'm not really much into bars and drinking, but concerts sound fun, or other things that have an activity that's not just drugs or alcohol, something that's entertainment related, I would say. But yeah, I don't know. I've been wanting something different. Talk to, a new person, somebody that doesn't know all of my stories. I don't know. It's just been, that's just how I've been feeling recently. So, but, I don't know how to make friends very well. I don't like asking people to like hang out because it feels like I'm desperate or something. And I feel like they'll just say yes because they don't want to make me feel bad, but they don't actually want to spend time with me. And like that's kind of how I feel whenever I ask somebody if they want to hang out, so I just don't. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I'll keep you guys updated on that situation. But so far, it's just been a feeling. Yeah, I'm still dealing with this pinch in my neck, back, mostly back on kind of on the left side here. It's definitely not as bad as the last time because I can actually like go to work and like get up and not scream. But I'm probably gonna use the heating pad later. I ran out of the medicine they gave me for it, because I just had some left over from last time. But we'll just see how it goes. I'm hoping that it'll eventually just go away like the last one did. I don't know. Might have to ask for a massage or something to try and help. I got lots of knots in my shoulders too, and that's definitely not helping. Yeah. I also need to exercise because this week I have definitely been slacking on my stair walking. I tend to, well, my goal is to walk up and down the like 6 flights of stairs at work on my break. And I have not done that this week, so I should really do that. Should do that today. I am gonna be going like back and forth between locations, and we'll see if I have time. But yeah, it's just been a crazy week, and I wasn't here Monday because of a holiday, so I'm trying not to beat myself up for not doing it, but I also need to like not just say this whole week has been a wash because there's still 2 days left. Anywho, I should get on to the actual topic that I wanted to talk about today, which is Unit 18. We're getting there. Which is about leveraging assistive technologies. So I have already kind of talked about some of the things that I use, and I'll mention it again here and there, but I don't want to talk only about the stuff I've already talked about. So, communication devices, so, speech to text, and the reverse, text to speech, audio, can be really helpful. Sensory aids, which I know I've talked about, the ones that I use, the earplugs, sunglasses, that kind of thing. And then cognitive support tools. So it'll go into a little bit more of what that means. Productivity tools. It says can help neurodivergent individuals organize tasks, manage time and efficiency. So definitely a huge one for me, and I think it's really helpful for both ADHD and autism. It just depends on, like, it serves a different purpose for both, and I think if you have both, then you just, it'll generally fall somewhere in the middle of this. But for ADHD people, for sure, it can be really helpful to have lists and reminders and things, because it's easy to forget or get sidetracked, work on something, and then just, you're in the middle of something else, so you're not thinking about that other thing, and then maybe you get sidetracked and you start working on something else, and then you forget to come back to the thing that you were just working on. And so it's like, that happens to me sometimes. So it can be really good to have those reminders and like priority tasks. I know that we use Google Suite for everything, so everything's on Google, so you can use task reminders. You can use the calendar. There's tasks in the calendar. You can just set a reminder on your phone. If you have Apple, they've got reminders. It's just really helpful to have those things written down and to have them like reminded to you at certain times of the day when you know, like, hey, at this time I generally will be able to pay attention to this reminder, because sometimes the reminders go off and you're like, but I'm in the middle of something, and then you make them go away and then you forget again. So it's good to have them go off a few times during the day, so in case you aren't available at one point, that you can do them at another point. For autism, I feel like it's good to have reminders sometimes because we can get stuck too on like whatever it is that we're doing, and it's really hard to transition, so it can be helpful to kind of have something exterior prompt that, like, hey, we need to start winding down this one thing. If we can, start wrapping this up so that we can move on to something else, because we can't spend all day on this one thing. It can definitely be helpful to have those reminders. And also, I like to have lists. Sometimes people are really overwhelmed by lists. I think it's still good to have reminders and like tasks set up for you, even if lists, it doesn't have to be in a list format, so it's really just finding what works best for you. Yeah, and like I was saying, evaluate compatibility of different tools. So it's totally fine to try one thing and then you try it for a couple of weeks and it's really not working for you. Try something else. Don't give up, but just try something else that may work better for you. Especially if you can figure out what you didn't like and what you did like about whatever tool it was that you were using, and try and find something that has more of what you do like. Mixing words together, my brain. Implementing tools in daily workflows takes training. So basically it's not something that I do this on my own and can just like try new things, and it's kind of a trial and error. But definitely when it comes to an organization, and if you're leading someone else and you're trying to assist them in finding these different ways of supporting them, it's good to really understand the platforms that you're using and how these different things help, so that we can find the best solution and we don't have to spend as much time on it, because obviously we're trying to be efficient here. That's why we're trying to use these different tools, and so it's better to be trained on those tools ahead of time, and then it helps down the road as you use it with more people that need it. And this goes for people who aren't neurodivergent too. I mean, there are lots of uses for these technologies that would be helpful for pretty much anybody, in my opinion. Got a little bit of a stitch going on here. cognitive support tools assist in memory retention, task sequencing, and decision making. So I don't know a whole lot. That's something that I really want to learn more about because, for one thing, I really struggle with decision making. So that's something I would love to learn more about. And then memory retention. I tend to write things down because I have a hard time with that. If I don't write it down, I will probably forget it. And it doesn't mean that it wasn't important. It just means that I didn't prioritize it at the time, or I moved on to something else, and so my brain was just like, we don't need that information. So it's not like a intentional thing. It's just something that happens, and so I think if I could figure out more tools for that, that'd be great. Yeah. So I definitely want to learn more about that. That's like a circle this so we can come back to that later. Support services and training aid in troubleshooting issues, updates, and requirements to maximize assistive technology. So basically, it's important to be up to date on what technologies are available, and how they work, because especially in this day and age, technology is constantly changing, and there's more and more opportunities to support, and so there's updates constantly, there's changes. It's really important to just be mindful of that. It definitely can take time. It's not something that we can necessarily always spend a ton of time on unless it's something that you're like specializing in. But for me, it's like, especially areas that we think could be better, it's good to keep an eye on those areas, or if it's technologies that you're currently using, making sure that you're up to date on what those are, and that just continual learning. So yeah, anyways, I'm a little bit tired today, so sorry about that. Usability feedback from neurodivergent individuals is key to refining assistive technology. So obviously, we're not going to use assistive technology that's not helping someone. If it's not doing what it's supposed to do, then we're going to find something else. But how do we gauge whether or not it's working? It should be both a productivity level, efficiency level, and personal reports from the people actually using it. I think we can tend to just look at productivity and be like, oh, well, this is working because they're working, they're doing stuff. But maybe it's not actually the best thing for them, and they don't enjoy using the program, or they find it really challenging, and yeah, it's helping them get more stuff done, but it's also causing them a lot of stress, or there's things that could be modified or changed, or maybe there's a different program that would be better. So just keeping that open dialogue with the people that are actually utilizing the technology, and then collaborating between employers, employees, and tech experts to successfully integrate technology into the workspace. So like I said, we use Google Suite for pretty much everything. So we just use all the different Google services, which there are quite a few, and I think it is pretty well encompassing for tools, but they're all free, and so there might be better tools out there that would be harder to integrate, but might actually be more effective. So I think kind of keeping an open mind when it comes to what technologies might be useful, and if we need to, invest a little bit in that, just kind of weighing the benefits to cost there. And then obviously working with people who maybe know a little bit more about technology if we're, trying to be as efficient as possible while still maintaining the quality of care for our employees and just general job satisfaction. There needs to be a level of understanding that maybe maybe the hiring person or the training person doesn't necessarily have all of the answers when it comes to the technology, so consulting experts in that field can definitely help in that process. And then staying informed on tech trends. It helps companies maintain a competitive edge in neurodivergent accessibility. So I think I love how they use competitive edge. It always makes it sound like, ooh, you've got a leg up on your competitors, like that's kind of how it sounds. But while I do agree with that, I think a lot of times we don't look at it that way when it comes to accessibility and, when it comes to accessibility for really anyone, I think we tend to look at what's the bare minimum that we can do to get by, because there's really not that many disabled people, and we don't really want disabled people to work for us because, then we have to invest more in, technologies to help them, and they're not really, it's not worth it. We might as well just hire a normal person that doesn't have these issues. And that's where a lot of discrimination comes into play when it comes to the hiring process or the structure of companies. They're kind of set up to exclude neurodivergent people or disabled people or however you choose to identify. It's just it's not saying that it's necessarily a personal thing. I think we see it a lot. It's more of a societal thing. It's kind of ingrained in us from a young age with school and accessibility in school and people being bullied for having disabilities. We're just kind of trained that people with disabilities are less than. And that if you need help with something that the majority of people don't need help with, then, you're not worth our time. And, you're not going to be able to do anything useful. And it can be really damaging. And so I think there does need to be a bit of a shift in culture to really see the benefit of being competitive in the support area. I think it depends on the industry, but I think at least in the US, there really aren't benefits to being more accessible for most people, most businesses. And I think that really needs to change. But that has to be a shift in focus for everyone, not just the, disabled people that it affects directly. Because it does affect everybody, and we just choose not to see it. So anyways, that's a little bit of a personal tangent there. But I'm gonna cut this episode a little bit shorter today. I try to aim for like a half hour. Sometimes it ends up long, sometimes it's a little short. But you guys don't really need to hear me talk that much. No, I really appreciate you being here. I know I say that a lot, but I do, and it's just good for me to be able to kind of talk things through. I feel like I'm getting a better understanding of what I think, what I believe, and things, outside of somebody else, because I tend to just take on people around me's opinions, and so it's really good for me to kind of take some time to be with myself, but I'm not good at just sitting in silence. I'll just have random wild thoughts, and I'll just spend the whole time thinking about, I don't even know, it just depends. It can, any wild array of scenarios that are probably never going to happen, and it's good to just kind of talk it through. I have to slow down in order to talk. I can only talk so fast, and I'm not a fast talker usually, so it helps me to use different parts of my brain to think things through. And I know I've talked about some interesting topics on here, some things that maybe are controversial. I try not to be controversial, but there, sometimes are things, and I really appreciate you guys listening to what I have to say. And I don't expect everybody to agree with me 100% of the time. Like, that's ridiculous. Nobody does that. If you did, I'd be a little concerned. I think everyone should think critically. But I would love to hear your opinions and your thoughts. And if it's different or if it's the same as mine, I really don't mind either way. I like to hear different people's perspectives. So if you want to, I put all of my information in the show notes. I know that there are probably better ways to put it in the show notes than I do. I don't know how to use the technology very well. And I know I need to learn, but I'll be honest, I don't have a whole lot of time. I know I've talked about my work schedule before. I don't have a whole lot of time. And I've got other things going on that I like to do in my free time. So I will get there eventually. But for now, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, and all of my contact information is in there. Yeah, I would really like to have some discussions with people, maybe, or just hear what you think. While this is mostly for me to be able to talk things through without necessarily always considering somebody else's opinion, I do really enjoy learning about other people and other people's perspectives, and it can help me in understanding. It might not change what I think, but I like to have a broad understanding of a topic, so it's good to have other opinions, especially people that are more educated than me on the topic, but really anybody. Everybody has their own experiences, and I like to hear them. Anywho, thank you so much for being here, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and that you never forget that you are enough.